my god. Oh god, I'm crying. Fuck.
Yeah, we took a
Fuck.
break.
Yeah, man.
That's what, a month?
Overdue. I mean, and look what
Yeah.
happens when we take a break. Russia's about to invade Ukraine. Fucking the fucking
Which they've
stock
been
market is.
threatening to for the last 20 years or so.
They were waiting for us to take a break.
Or pull out of like a Afghanistan or some shit like that. It was all strategy.
Facts.
The world is a big chessboard.
The stock market is tanking because we took a break. People were expecting our next episode, so they just sold stocks. Yo, bro, we're overdue. What's up, people?
Especially when this is the first episode of the year, so we gave people, let them start 2022 as bad as it was starting with a fucking Omicron wave, fucking the pandemic is never ending, winter, and now Russia invading Ukraine, and no Legion on Zoom. Fuck. But we're back.
Bro, that's crazy. That's fucking, but we're here. That's what matters. And we're here with fucking Hawkeye. And we're going to get to it. And should we address the whole artist getting robbed thing? Because it keeps to be like a continuing theme. We could just start off with that when it comes to the show first.
I think so. I think we can start because obviously for those of you also who are listening on podcasts, whatever, go check us out on YouTube because you see we have special backgrounds today on our Zoom shit, which makes us a little invisible. But this is good. And so obviously with mine here, we're supporting the fucking creators as much as we could that were highly influenced, that highly influenced the show, the Disney Plus show of Hawkeye. And yes, you might be wondering why we're barely talking about this now. We've been letting it simmer, and finally we're getting into fucking talking about Hawkeye. All about Hawkeye today. Shit.
Facts. Mine isn't a background. I'm actually in the Batcave, but go on.
Yo, I actually bought that graphic novel. It was one of the last paper graphic novels that I bought. And I just never got around to reading it because the Kindle just took over. So it's like a small like little window where I didn't like, read. Like if it wasn't on digital, I wasn't going to read it type shit. But yeah, but I've been hearing about this run like for the past 5 years at least.
Yeah. I got into I read it back in the day. So this is a run by Matt Fraction and David Aja. I think I'm pronouncing the last name correctly. They basically, because this took advantage that Hawkeye was just introduced in the MCU. Matt Fraction and David Aja worked together on Iron Fist. They had a pretty cool Iron Fist run, and they both like shared their love for Hawkeye. And then we're able to kind of come up with this new series, which ran from 2012 to 2015. I think it was about 23 or 25 issues.
That was that long ago?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Marijuana.
Yo, 2022, bro.
Fuck.
Wow.
Yeah, I felt like I saw that cover like on the stands, like and like being highly praised more recently than that. And I don't mean because of the show or the promos, but like, damn, that's crazy.
No, and because the book was a hit. Like it was critically acclaimed. It wasn't even like a cult following. It just really took off. And because people were surprised about like, come on, a book about Hawkeye, who gives a fuck? But Matt Fraction made it very well.
Until they gave a fuck.
But like what you were saying, Ches, right? Like for people wondering, like, what are we talking about the creators getting fucked? Like we've talked about this before. And one of the big things here with this show was that David Aja, the artist and co-creator of the series, was very like not at all like included in the work. And I think at the very beginning wasn't even acknowledged until later, or just a simple credit was given. When if you notice, like even from my display, my background and the fucking posters, and then follow us on Instagram because we recently shared some stories about this stuff. Like the poster art, all the fucking art, the theme and everything is just taken from his designs. Like they didn't even hire a a graphic designer. They just stole what they
like carried over. Like
it's like, the most praised like Hawkeye story of all time, right? Because it's like the only Hawkeye story. I know there are more, but it's the only one that like matters and shit.
It's the only one that like everyone knows. You know what I mean? And the thing that fucking irks me is that shit I said a few episodes back, that it's like they should have at least some type of like boilerplate, you know what I mean? Like standard contract, like you get $1 million. You know, and like, yo, we're gonna use your shit here. Here's $1 million, as opposed to absolutely nothing. That even was it?
And it's a big nothing and $1 million. That's a big space, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah, but they're getting nothing. Like that's what they're getting though. To the point that even what's his name, David Ajay, even he tweeted like, "How about you stop crediting and start paying or some shit?" Was it him?
Yeah, that was him exactly. Because
Like,
a lot of the comic book community, both creators, writers and artists, and just fans alike went on Twitter to talk about that, about try to support David Aja, and he was like, yeah, like, yeah, sure, credit is fine, but give me money though, right? These are fucking multi-million-dollar fucking shows, man. Like, come on. Actually, and what's funny about something I just recently read about, because we've talked about this before, right? And you're saying about $1 million. Apparently, DC is not that bad at that. Actually, they're not the best. But they're not, not who would be better? I don't know, but they're not, they could be better. Apparently, like Jim Starlin, we mentioned this before. So Jim Starlin created motherfucking Thanos, Gamora, Drax. Obviously, we've seen them hugely involved in the fucking MCU.
Yeah.
He was paid almost like apparently very, very little for as credit for his influence on Marvel in the movies. But he also created a DC character that I had no idea. He created the KG Beast, who I believe, Rod, can you tell us
was in BVS? Oh, what's his name? Anton or some shit like that.
Anton Karniesves or something like that.
Yeah, he's also in like
Anatoly, right?
He's in a good a Secret Six run, which is kind of like a Suicide Squad book.
But what's funny, right? Because KG Beast, I didn't even know he was in that movie until I think, Rod, you told me you eventually figured it out.
Yeah, the first 2 times I saw it, I didn't know it was him. And I'm like, oh shit.
But I mean, like, it's weird though, because like a character like KG Beast, I feel like they could have gone through a little bit more effort to make it obvious. But it's because the dude played just like some epic ass black market mercenary. That's it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
he didn't even look like the KG Beast, no? But I think what's funny, though, to bring it back to the Hawkeye shit, is that Jim Starlin got paid way more for that credit that I want to say probably thanks to Zack Snyder, good man, Zack Snyder, versus Thanos, in the MCU, which was pretty much used identically to like who he created
to make all the money and shit. Because that Infinity War Endgame, I think this is the top 2 grossing superhero films of all time.
Shit, all the money.
It's funny. It's up there in the top 10 too, according to Wikipedia. Joker is in the top 10. But I know these lists aren't adjusted for inflation and shit. Like, it's all weird economic shit. But I was surprised to see the Joker that high.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised, but
and wasn't it rated R?
Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah, but it was. I'm sure people saw that shit.
That's why I'm mad that they're so scared to do the Batman rated R, or at least make a version that's rated R. I don't know, man.
Now, there's too much money to lose. It's not even that they're afraid. It's that there's too much money to lose. It's
bro, look at Deadpool and Joker. Look at the success of those 2 films. Like, Deadpool, I'm sure is in the top 10 as well. I don't know if we can pull this up, but like, you can, if you take a gamble, it can just pay off big. I think it's worth it.
And trust me, I get you, and I agree. But what I see is that when it comes to like their Holy Trinity characters, they're so big that, and they make so much money that if there's anybody that they're gonna cut off, they're like, fuck that. Because what if it's rated R? What is like 13 and over or some shit? Like, how does that go? Like, how does the whole rated R thing work? I don't even know. But it's like it cuts off a certain age group. That's why they're not willing to do that. There's certain parents who don't take their kids to a movie if it's rated R. They're not willing to lose a penny on a character that big. You know what I mean? Especially considering the budget. Because look at that right there. Those movies you just named didn't have massive budgets. They had big budgets.
If they ever make Injustice, that has to be rated R.
I agree totally.
Oh, they have to. It has to. No, but you're right. I'm looking right now just in terms of the highest grossing films, period, right? Not just comic book movies, period. Highest grossing films. Neither Deadpool or Joker are in the top 10 or not even top 20. Like the number 1 is still Avatar, right? Because remember we almost got close to beating it with Avengers Endgame, because Avengers Endgame is the second.
I've
No.
never seen Avatar. Woo!
Me neither. Haven't seen it.
Holla!
We
Holla.
dodged it.
Yo, fucking counterculture. Fucking go.
But yo, let's talk about Hawkeye.
Yo, let's go back to
Uh,
Hawkeye. Yo, but
Oh,
yeah,
by the way,
yeah, go for it.
I was gonna say a hot take. So I totally believe that Aha should get paid. I just should get paid for his shit. I'm not a fan of the look. It's just a shirt. Like
This shirt right here.
yeah.
What?
Go on YouTube so you can see the look right over Miguel's shoulder. For a dude who's in that much danger, I like my non-powered superheroes to be more protected. It's a shirt. Like
I'm sure
it's
he's
even
not wearing that in
tactical gear.
combat. I think that's just him chilling, like
Miguel?
practicing right there.
Yeah, no, I think because he eventually gets a suit, kind of like in the comic books. That's like a suit, right? Kind of like in the show. I'm sorry, like that. That's actually like
Okay.
Kevlar and shit. But because
The OG comic book Hawkeye had that Captain America scale mail or whatever the fuck they were.
right? Yeah,
Word.
because the big draw of the Fraction and Aha book was that it is supposed to be very much of like Hawkeye's daily life. Like he's not fighting big ass super villains, the Avengers shit. It's just him in his apartment dealing with local community things, and that's where they also deal a lot with that tracksuit mafia and with his relationship with Kate Bishop. As a mentor to her and that. So that's why he's like more dressed down, because it's just casual dude, just he's not in Avengers mode there.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not a fan. Like I need some tactical looking shit. I want to see the suit that he eventually gets in that series. But just like you mentioned, though, the day-to-day shit does transfer immediately over as soon as he's seen on the show. Like this dude, shout out to Jeremy Renner, to our show. He has extreme
The
transparency
best
with his
hair of
family.
all the Avengers. I want to throw that out there.
Damn,
Of
you
the
think
whole
so?
the whole team and any like future Avengers, he has the
Even
best
Scarlett
hair.
Johansson?
Bro. Like it was the show was half Jeremy Renner as an actor, and the other half to me was just his epic hairdo and him being epically cool at
Now
all
do you
times.
understand where I'm coming from in these moments? You see?
What do you
I've
mean?
been mocked. I've been mocked for everything you just said on multiple occasions on this show about my obsession with characters' hair. You see, you get it. There's certain times when you're captured by a dude.
Yeah.
See?
The last one was James Gordon on Gotham. He had like that classic
Right,
Batman
classic.
style. Shout out to that show.
But facts. So the show
Actually-
was freaking awesome.
Right. And going back to that, to the show and the creators, the only one thing I thought that was interesting to mention, right, that we're talking about how David didn't really get much credit, but Matt Fraction did actually, and he was actually brought on early in the show's development as a consulting producer and gave notes on scripts, no? And so he said that it was, I read this interview on Entertainment Weekly about Matt Fraction's involvement in the show, and, he did say that, they basically, could take or leave whatever he had to offer. But I thought that's interesting, right? They did really bring him in and probably hopefully gave him a good chunk of money for that. But the artist that they used to design, they're like, you're good.
Yeah, it's like they basically just traced shit from the comics onto the set design and just ran with it. But anyway, all right, like enough accusing Marvel of just being dicks. Let's actually
They're
talk-
getting corporate, right? Because Scarlett Johansson had beef with them too.
Facts.
Mhm.
OD.
Like it's no longer like a friendly family environment. It's like, yo, is there contracts and money, the bottom fucking line? These are like
I could-
like some actor recently, I forget who, was like in the next 10, Ben Affleck. He was like, in the next 10 years, it's only gonna be Marvel movies and some other shit. Like
Yeah, like just big blockbuster events. So that's gonna
Yeah.
be the main thing that's gonna
and then
take.
other types of films will be straight home, like
and
HBO
poured
Max
like
type shit.
that IMAX.
Imagine that comes back, like porn in movie theaters becomes a thing again and shit.
On IMAX.
Yeah, but not just any theater, IMAX. Fuck.
Get the Kleenex on the right hand side. It reclines and all that shit.
Yo, give me real. Give
A
me real.
lube dispenser instead of hand sanitizer.
Would you go watch IMAX porn?
Hearing guys moaning like in the distance. Nah, that's wild. bro.
Nah.
That's some
That's in New York
Caligula
City,
shit.
pre Giuliani.
You kind of had me a little bit curious describing the seats and that kind of stuff. And I'm like, all right, but then yes, hearing the guy next to me, no, all right, I'm good, I'm done. No, we're not gonna do this.
Yo, I
But then
have
luckily
tears.
nowadays you could pick your seats, right?
Oh,
So it's not
man.
like back in the day, like the old school porn theaters didn't have that numbered seat shit. So a guy can just come and sit
go
right
online.
next to you.
You go online and reserve a seat at the porn theater, right?
Yo,
man?
imagine back in that day how horrible it was. Some guy got up, go to the bathroom, and somebody's in your seat. How do you tell? Like, you tell
Ugh.
hey, excuse me, sir.
Man, that's
I
his seat
was
now.
jerking there. I was jerking out there. Can you please move?
Yo, I have tears running down my face.
But yes, Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. So, all right, now yes, let's get into the series itself. All right, so finally, what did we all think of the show? There's a lot of big things. I think one of the for me, the breakaway fucking como se dice hits of the show was Kate Bishop. Man, I liked
she's
her
great.
character.
Oh, facts, OT. She was
Great.
epic.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried at first, not knowing how they're gonna pull it off. Is it gonna be too Disney? Is it gonna be too? I don't know. But I liked that. I felt it was a good balance of action with the relationship between her and Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner. I think I liked it, and I fucking would be down to see another season of them.
I enjoy the way they built up the relationship. My first thought of Kate was like, she's like a healthier version of like a young Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? She sees like her dad get killed. She sees, like something epic. Jeremy Renner, all the way from what was it? The first Avengers movie and shit, which that was pretty dope. But then you see how insanely wealthy her family is. Like they live at the top of those old buildings in Midtown of New York. Who you wonder who lives up there? They live up there. Those
Epic
people.
white people.
Fucking socialites that get that title, which I don't even know what that shit means.
Yo,
Now,
they're
I
the
like that parallel
1%,
to
man.
Bruce Wayne though.
The 0.5%.
In that opening scene, with them replaying that scene in Avengers, but from a different perspective. Shades of BVS right there. When it opens with Bruce Wayne in the midst of the Kryptonian battle, I was like, oh, that's dope.
Well, exactly.
Yeah. So it was just really cool to see something from a different perspective, like a movie that we've seen like dozens of times and shit. Like, oh, here's something different.
Facts.
Yeah. So off the rip, like this show had me, and it had like we'll get into it, but it had like a Christmassy theme and it dropped around Christmas. I thought that was cool. The fact that Marvel's doing that. And I guess the Guardians of the Galaxy would be the next Christmas themed offering, right? Whenever, maybe in the next 2 years, who knows?
Well, I mean, because that one is called like a holiday special. Did they even tell us that this one was going to be like holiday-ish, or did we know that right off the cuff?
Yeah, I feel like it was meant to be like a holiday family comedy action. Like, they're like getting into that territory of like a family comedy situation, but with drama. And, I kind of like felt like if any show was going to be like the Netflix verse, this one was going to dip its toe, and it kind of does, right? Obviously, I feel like
yeah,
more weight than spoiler alert, because I feel like if you haven't seen this shit yet, hit pause or just listen to us. If you're gonna watch it, you probably got spoiled on Instagram at 3 a.m.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, word.
We get some confirmation, just like in No Way Home, of the Netflix verse being canon or like a multiverse. I don't know what y'all think.
Yo,
I think I'll say canon.
Yo, exactly right. At the we were through the spoiler alert, whatever, right? It's obviously Kingpin. Fucking we see motherfucking Kingpin on Hawkeye right before we saw fucking a Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock.
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Facts.
And so yeah, like is it canon, right? I've been seeing online late 3 a.m. fucking interwebs look that people fight it. Actually, some people say no, that it's like the multiverse maybe, and it's just the version of Kingpin in this universe.
I hold that
now.
position, but yeah, continue.
Yeah, so but I don't know, and what's interesting is that the actual, I think it was Vincent D'Onofrio, and I think one of the producers of the show, but at least Vincent D'Onofrio for sure, he says that in his head it's canon, because he's like, I'm acting as that same person. He's like saying that he was pretending his inspiration was that after the blip and all that he lost all his wealth and stuff, and so now he's trying to rebuild his empire, and in his mind it's the same fucking guy.
Oh, that he blipped out and came back
or something like that. Yeah, I don't think he specified.
They didn't address that on the show at all, right?
How did he end in Daredevil season 3?
They
beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I mean,
almost killed him.
Like,
he got like,
I mean, that's what happens at the end of an action movie.
No, but like that shit was like it was some Oscar-worthy shit.
But I mean, like
Matt Murdock was pounding him and crying. Yeah, he got arrested. All of that.
Okay,
all of the above, A through Z. He got the shit beat out of him. Matt Murdock deserves an Oscar. Charlie Cox, you know what I mean? Fucking like he got arrested. He was found out, and then boop, he blipped. Which I like the idea of that. Because in the blip, like we're still finding out who blipped after. Like,
I mean,
how
would
long
be
has
cool? Because even in this, like, what happens to him at the end of this? It's kind of like it's weird too, right?
We'll get to that because I have thoughts on the execution.
Yeah, we gotta get into Echo first.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And I have comic book facts to share about that actually happened in the comic book, so we can see how they fucking differed.
Word.
Anyway, before we get the other thing, I think what mentioning the blip, right? You know, the other cool thing about you're right about Hawkeye, right? They were showing us things from different angles, right? Like that whole fucking first Avengers fight, that was dope. Another really cool thing that I fucking enjoyed, right, was the that they gave us Yelena Belova, right? The fucking new Black Widow, who we talked about before. We fucking love her. And it was so cool, I think, to see how she got blipped and her perspective of it. Remember that because she's like in the fucking
totally,
and you know she's like she walked into the bathroom, right, and came back, and then it fucking 5 years had passed. Like that was a trip.
See, look, that's awesome. The fact that through the shows, they're still going through the motions of the blip. We're still finding out. You know what I mean? We don't even know how, and this is getting out of the show into the next show, but like how the blip affect the Skrulls in Secret Invasion. Like this shit is like we're seeing like the resonance of the wave still, and that's pretty awesome because it wasn't a one and done. It's like, damn, that's continuity.
Actually, with that, imagine Guardians of the Galaxy, the next James Gunn film. If they deal with that, you know, with seeing other fucking alien civilizations, the Kree and fucking all the other ones out there, the fucking dealing with those that came back, and now that'd be fucking cool to watch.
Yeah, dude, like aside from like, I think that aside from them setting a precedent with the MCU itself over and over and over again in different ways, the way that they're using the snap to that level of detail everywhere being that constant canon, that's a new precedent in and of itself.
Yeah, especially in the Spider-Man story.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking nuts. But getting back into Hawkeye itself.
Wait, a quick side note: you mentioned James Gunn, because I can't wait for Guardians 3. Like, because whenever I think that Endgame peaked the MCU, because I still kind of feel that way too. Like, because they're sort of starting a new chapter in their existence as a cinematic universe after Endgame or so, right?
Yeah, right.
So I feel like, can it ever get as good as fucking Infinity War, and then waiting a year after that wild ending and seeing Endgame just being fucking blown away, and it's great the second time. So when they kind of restarted, and it started off with the Spider-Man movie, I think, right, with Far From Home. I'm like, okay,
No Way Home. Far From Home. You're right. Yeah. No, you mean
Far From Home.
Right.
Wasn't that the first? I always get this wrong, but wasn't that the first film?
Spider-Man, some shit home.
Yeah, Far From Home.
I don't know if it was the first or
the
last of that.
Era
of that phase. But it's one of those.
But but Guardians 3, and in the meantime, as he's crafting that epic to finish his trilogy, he's doing Peacemaker on HBO Max, which eventually we'll talk about too. Just have to throw a shout out to Peacemaker. That shit is pretty dope.
Yo, James Gunn has fucking money.
Yo, he's the man, yo. You want him on like seeing this. Okay, I don't want to deviate. We'll get back to Hawkeye.
Damn it.
But seeing what he did with the Suicide Squad, which was obviously better than the first one, and then seeing what he's doing with this
Oh, yeah.
show, and he's already throwing nods at a larger shared universe within the show. Because all for the continuity geeks out there, and the DCEU, the equivalent, or it was meant to be the equivalent of the MCU, it's all weird now. Like it's already a multiverse, fucked up timeline. And
Yeah,
shit.
basically.
But yeah, but I like the way where he's going with that. So if Zack Snyder's like gone, like you guys didn't trust my vision, whatever, peace. I would love to see him come in there and start to really create some shit, because I think it's dope. But yes, Hawkeye.
Yo, but just the last comment on James Gunn, and do you remember that he almost got canceled? Yeah, we almost lost all of this awesome content.
Yeah, that
Jesus
canceling
Christ.
shit is wild, man.
I'm getting angry just thinking about this shit. Let's get into Hawkeye before I start ranting.
Yo, speaking
How
of
fucking
canceling,
stupid people are.
Miguel, you shared that Joss Whedon article on Vulture, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Hi.
no,
It was like through
real
the New
quick.
Yorker or something. Yeah,
Is just I don't know. Should we talk about that, or
go for it. Yeah, I
people
don't
are like,
remember.
"Yo, I'm listening for Hawkeye. What the fuck are you guys talking about?" No, but it's kind of like the whole Zack Snyder cut shit. It turned into like a whole drama show for us comic book fans, right? It's like us getting all into that, Hollywood and whatever's going down, and then Joss Whedon got canceled because of all this shit, and he got called a racist or all kinds of shit. Like he
was a
sexual
misogynist,
predator, I don't
racist,
know.
sexual
But
predator.
anyway, the man who gave us that first Avengers film that was referenced in that first episode. But yeah, he came back with his side, and
Dug his heels in.
I don't know, man. Like some of the things he said.
He's like, yeah, Ray Fisher sucks. And no, Gal Gadot can't speak English. Like, damn, her.
Damn.
Oh, no, he doubled down, man. He's like,
Like
oh,
that's
what?
all. Like that's so wild. You gotta respect it. Like, fuck,
Yo,
bro.
no, but he's all like, he's a recluse now, man. He's like on some Alan Moore shit.
maybe
I don't
he's
know if that's
finally
healthy.
being himself, Finally, he's like, yo, I fuck it. This is who I am. This is what I think. I'm just gonna own it, and maybe it'll work well for me. And it's like, no, bro, it's not. Probably not.
I just love the fact that he gave his rationale for cutting all of Ray Fisher's scenes that he thought Ray Fisher sucked. Like that, straight.
Yo, right? And then because then we get to see those scenes later,
Word.
right? And I'm like, those were beautiful. Like those were great scenes with him. He's a great actor, and those were the heart of the movie
Big
of Zack Snyder. I'm
facts.
like, what the hell, John?
Oh man.
Like,
Oh,
but
fuck.
by bad, I'm sure that he said he's a bad actor. I'm sure he meant black actor. I think that's
Yeah.
what the word he was trying to
Facts.
say.
But
Facts, yo.
but obviously, like for us to have seen the Snyder cut, not to actually, let's open up the year with my first reference of the Snyder cut. All right, so
Mark it
obviously,
down.
Barry Allen was the heart, because I finished my
Right.
rewatch of the Snyderverse. I do it
Of
like at the
course.
end of the year. So
As you are
and
wont
re-
to do.
I rewatched the black and white version of the Snyder cut, available on HBO Max. It's noir and shit, or it wants to be. But yeah, now I watched it, and like, yo, the Barry Allen story. To me, that was the heart of the movie. Not Cyborg was pretty cool, but definitely like a sub character, and not like a legitimate like Justice Leaguer. Like, I don't know. But that was like
Yo.
obviously Jeff Johns' introduction, and then Jeff Johns got thrown into that whole mess about the racism of Whedon. Anyway,
Do you think
all of that.
like do you think like amongst the entire population of Earth, you're in the top 5 people who've seen that movie the most?
damn.
I'm gonna go with
Nah.
probably, yeah.
Me
Fans
too.
out there, people listening, watching us, if you've seen Zack Snyder's entirety of his work in the
seen it.
DCU,
More than Rod.
more than Rod, let us know. What's your number?
3
Facts.
times for the Snyder cut,
Jesus Christ.
and then 1 time for the Whedon
Whedon?
version.
What I love is 3 times for the Snyder cut. It's been 1 year. It hasn't even been a year since it came out, right? It didn't come out March of last year, or has it been already? Wait, when did it come out? I'm confused.
Oh no,
What
I
is
think
time?
you're right. Right? It's been up for
I
a
thought it
year.
was 2 years ago.
Oh, was it 2020 or 2021? No,
I think it's 2020.
Yo, the pandemic. People
The
are losing.
pandemic.
Yo, we just
Oof.
blipped in right
Oh,
now. I
deep,
had an edible
bro.
earlier, so I
Fuck
kind of I'm
them.
blipping in myself.
But you know who's not racist and who's not misogynist? Hawkeye.
That's right. Because not and all the
How do we know
creators.
this though? This confirmed at any moment in the MCU that Hawkeye is not racist.
Well, because we see one that he's such a good father. You can't be racist and be a good father as he is, caring so much about Christmas. Stays
Facts.
behind to help Kate Bishop solve her mess of stealing the Ronin costume, right? Which was his costume. So he's not misogynistic. There, look, supporting Kate Bishop, teaching her how to become a hero. And the other big thing, right, that we got our introduction to Echo. Right, Maya Lopez, so Native American and also deaf character, that is very, like you were saying, we're walking back into kind of Netflix verse, because Echo would be a perfect a character for the Netflix verse, because she was very involved in the Daredevil books. But Hawkeye helped her. And
did Bendis create her?
So no, so Echo was created by Joe Quesada and David Mack, and that was introduced in the Daredevil run that really followed right after Quesada's, and I forgot the writer, from the Death of Karen Page story. Because then right after that, that's when Brian Michael Bendis took over the Daredevil and led an incredible fucking run on Daredevil, which was then followed by Ed Brubaker, and then much more. We won't get into it. But no, so they were she was created by them, and I think Bendis really fleshed her out a bit more, but she is a meta, actually. So originally she was basically like almost like a female Taskmaster, which is funny, right? Because we already got a female Taskmaster in the MCU now.
Do you think they showed her as a meta in the show? Like, because it seemed weird. Like, they didn't confirm. I think she's just a skilled human.
I didn't get a sense that she had
Hawkeye
powers
in the one-on-one fight.
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
It was gonna
exactly
straight up
when,
fucking.
It's like episode 2 or 3.
He stabbed her in the leg or some shit like that. Like at the end when he fought her as quote unquote Ronin. Like he won at the end. Like he's a better martial artist, but she's up there though. But it's crazy. Like, is she a meta?
Yeah, I think
so. I mean, we don't know.
Well, right? Exactly. We'll find out because we're getting an Echo series later on. So, which I'm hoping that's going to be the place where we're going to see Vincent D'Onofrio again as Kingpin, and that we're going to get Matt Murdock appear in that show.
That would be cool.
Because in the books, she has like photographic memory and can just learn everything by watching it once. Actually, like she's like a pianist and shit because she saw somebody play piano like epically, and she like learned it like that. And so she's got that skill. And then what's cool, what her origin story, which again, it's kind of like what they did for the show in the book, because she is raised by Kingpin, because Kingpin kills her father who worked for him. Same thing has happened in the show. But the difference is in the book, Kingpin tells her that Daredevil killed her dad. And so and then she tries to kill Daredevil and fight him. In the show, obviously we see it's the other way around, right? That she thinks it's Hawkeye that killed her dad, which in a way was Hawkeye did, right? Because he was Ronin, right? So he did do it.
Did you guys read that whole time he did in the comics as Ronin? Because that shit was a long time ago.
Yo, shout out to Ronin. It wasn't Ronin. He was created by Brian Michael Bendis, right?
Yeah,
in his Avengers run.
Yeah, and actually, fun fact with that too, Echo was the first Ronin. It wasn't Hawkeye.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so in the comic books, when Bendis took over the Avengers books, they had this whole story, and he took Echo there. Daredevil apparently couldn't join or some shit, and then said, "I got somebody to help you with ninja shit," because they had to go against the Hand. And so that's when we get Echo appearing as Ronin first. And then eventually Hawkeye takes on the mantle of Ronin when he comes back from the dead after Avengers Disassembled. After House of M, that he comes back to life. Because I think he gets killed in Avengers Disassembled by Wanda, by Scarlet Witch going fucking nuts. And then he comes back and he's Ronin at that point. So mixing shit that taking here and there for the show, but there's some pretty cool similarities there.
Yo,
Wait,
what
you
are the
just fucking-
chances that like whatever goes down in Multiverse of Madness leads into some type of Wanda Avengers level event? Like that'd be pretty cool.
Totally
If she
possible.
gets like a fucking Omega Ultra.
Totally possible. You saw some fucking shades of that in the trailers. You know what you just fucking reminded me of, Miguel, talking about the hand? How much I hated the Tracksuit Mafia. Because I feel like, wow, funny and providing a little comic relief, I think they could have been made out to be more dangerous, considering that like they were working for Kingpin, they were tracking down the Ronin. They seemed goofy. Like it's kind of
Yo,
like
and that is what the element that separates this show from the Netflix verse.
100%.
Yeah,
That
facts.
element
Good.
right there.
Because, for example, like the hand, which, by the way, that's probably how they bring the hand back in the Echo show. They should, because the way they were used in the Netflix verse was fucking amazing. When they were fast forwarding a little bit in the big fight in Rockefeller Center against the Tracksuit Mafia, that it was like that comical clown car shit, just mad bad guys coming around. I felt like if they would have genuinely stormed them, the two people with arrows, they would have overcame them. You saw Dusika just waiting, like, now you go. Okay, he's down. Okay, I'm gonna go now.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Shades of Batman and Robin.
Exactly. Like it was dope.
The skiing shit, the ice hockey scene with the diamond. That was wild. Bro.
Yeah, like, dude, they did that shit to make Kate Bishop seem feasible in combat. Because if it would have been the hand, she would have gotten waxed.
Yeah, she almost dies legit twice. Like if it wasn't for some life-saving miracle, not even twice, 3 times. All right, because again in the fight, eventually, all right, let's start from take it from the top. So she's part of some like underground bidding shit where like the show opens up where they're bidding on
now her family, her mom holds it. Her mom holds the auctions.
Yeah, her mom is like a Kingpin level like scumbag or some
general.
shit.
No, like she's like a general for
like
the
a general,
Kingpin, I guess you could say, yeah.
Yeah,
in place of the
I
father.
thought that was cool. The whole concept of bidding on like wreckage.
Yeah, thanks.
You know, like that's pretty cool. It brings it down to street level, which is like where this show like is at. And then the Ronin suit comes up, and that's when Kate Bishop has to put it on because it gets, it turns into, what is it, like these dudes come in to try and steal it or some shit?
The Tracksuit Mafia goes in to try to steal that and something else, right? Or
yeah,
I think it was just the suit. Because
like sword. The other dude just took the sword.
I mean, for example, like we just stumbled like onto another critique, and I was legit thinking about this before we started the shows. Like the plot. Okay, so aside from the bond between him and Kate, them chasing the suit, the plot felt a little blurry underneath. You know what I mean? Like the sword master dude, he was just an empty character. Was he guilty of anything? Like the suspicious about him, what? Like it doesn't make sense because he helped out in the end.
Who you're talking about, the sword master dude?
Yeah. Because he's actually a character, but then they didn't give him the suit, which we thought they would have. It's like the plot was vague.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's a lot of things like that I was like, what? Like I felt like it was like either this is the first part of first season and then the second part would drop soon, hopefully, but no, this is the whole season. Because because even that the character Jax Duquesne, I think is his name. He's swordsman in the comic book.
Swordsman, I think it's swordmaster.
You were close.
Obscure ass character.
Yeah, but actually very relevant to Hawkeye's origin story, because actually swordsman taught Hawkeye how to fight. And so I was hoping in that scene when swordsman takes his sword out and stops Clint when he's in the bishop's home, that they were going to recognize each other or something. But no, they're completely...
That would have been dope. Oh my God. That would have been so dope.
The scene was still dope though.
Yeah, it was.
That was a cool cliffhanger scene.
Yeah.
Just to add a little bit more obscurity to the swordsman to seek. I kind of like the actor, and I was curious to see if they were to do more. But because in the books though, because he trained him Hawkeye how to fight with swords while somebody else taught him how to use the arrows. and then he was kind of like a bad guy for a minute, then became a good guy, then it was in the Avengers. He actually in the comic books married Mantis, who we see her in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh shit!
Damn, deep cuts.
Yeah,
That's
and then
crazy.
he dies. He dies saving Mantis, or I forgot it. Or it was
Damn.
they had a kid together or something. But then recently, I think it was that in the Empire run that happened not that long ago by Dan Slott, and I think it was Al Ewing in Marvel. He came back, Swordsman, but as this like plant creature, which is this alien race Kotati. But anyway, that's what's happened to him throughout his life. So that'd be kind of interesting to see the MCU.
It's crazy how much of none of that is gonna happen. Not a single thing he just talked about is gonna happen.
None of that.
And then out of nowhere, like they lead him to be like a villain of sorts.
Yeah, exactly. Like
But
it was
really,
weird.
like like her mom is implicated, and she's kind of not on the up and
But I
up.
hated the mom. I hated her acting was so dry. I hated that lady. Yeah, it felt like she was just talking. It felt like it was a lady who was acting, talking to a young
She's an
girl who was
official
playing her
white
daughter.
woman. like legitimate, like
Yep. That
Oh
is
my
a white woman.
God. Yo, that observation was factual.
But I think with Swordsman, I think the way I interpreted the ending was that he was released of of all wrongdoing, that it was all the mom who like framed him, forged it, and so then he was not at all a bad guy and was just random almost superhero that helped fighting and then just bounced.
Which makes Kate a horrible fucking detective.
Well, she is.
It's him.
What do you mean?
She is just starting, bro.
Listen, man.
All right,
that was
she
pretty
makes
good. I think
you know what?
It's
like,
a tough game.
It's funny because week to week, I love the show.
Yeah.
Like like it. Looking back on it, yeah, it had its flaws, but like when it comes to quality comic book shows, it's hit or miss nowadays. And so far, Disney is always good, and they've always been entertaining with their shows. Even this one that tries to get a little bit more dark. But I think Kate Bishop, she makes the show for me. Like she's like the centerpiece. Like, well, her and Jeremy Renner.
Yeah,
She does a fucking great job at like bringing like a whole younger Avenger squad, like maybe potentially.
Mm-hmm. She's dope.
My only thing is like with Ches though, like it was a fun show. I liked it, from beginning to end. I was having fun watching it. I looked forward to each episode, but I kind of did want it to be a little bit more Netflix-ish, right?
Yeah.
Because it was too jokey at times, and the Tracksuit Mafia, like in the comic book, they're pretty cool. They are kind of like comic relief too, but they're like because then Hawkeye deals with one of like a main villain that's an actual fucking scary threat, that's and then the Tracksuit Mafia is kind of like a side thing that's happening. And so like it was kind of weird to have them be the main one. Like I guess Echo was the cool quote unquote villain, right? And but it was still like, I don't know, it was just still a little bit too silly. And with that, I want to talk about with you guys, what did you guys think about Kingpin? About how we actually saw Kingpin and him, fucking fighting Kate Bishop. What did you all think of that?
I hated it. that fight was stupid, bro. We've seen fucking the Kingpin rapping like 315, 405 on the bench in jail. We've seen him take just wild punches from Matt fucking Murdock.
That's how much he was benching in
Yeah.
the jail scene, that ass.
Yeah, like 405, 315.
Yeah.
Dude, of course I'm gonna notice that shit. Like for reps easily, and then he racks it like nothing and just gets off the bench.
Nah, because
like,
they Disney-ified him.
No, dude. I don't want to hear that shit, bro. Kate Bishop versus the Kingpin, who's starring out just like you guys just said, would have gotten the Bane treatment from Nightfall. Just straight knee through multiple spinal vertebrae, breaking her in half. That fight was retarded.
Yeah, I I agree because like what Rod said, right? Like they Disneyfied him, and that's the thing I was worried about the most, right? Because one, also they like leveled him up in weird ways too, right? Because he also like fucking didn't he get hit by a car and like an explosion and blew through a wall, and he was like, all right, whatever. Like,
see, it was weird. It was
like that's weird. And exactly, like, come on, he went fucking toe to toe with Daredevil multiple fucking times. Daredevil ninja training since he was a fucking kid, right? Like,
and that's why you can
accomplished.
argue if it's the same Kingpin, which here's what I think. Okay, here's my theory. I think Marvel Studios has no immediate plans for those characters, which is why we may have seen Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock, in No Way Home. I think that like they're just gonna like throw like a quick like fanfare, just like Alfred Molina. Like, okay, here's Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, just for shits and giggles. But I don't think it's meant to be like the same dude that went through all that shit with Matt Murdock in 3 seasons of Netflix.
So like,
but it's a version in the multiverse. Yeah,
a variant. Both of them are variants, basically. Yeah.
Do you become a variant once you exit your universe?
I'm calling a variant right now basically any multiversal version of a person, right? Because like that's the part with Loki, right? That wasn't sure that there was no multiverse, right? And then there was a multiverse. It was a little bit confusing. But yeah, I'm just calling them another version of themselves.
Yeah.
But by your definition, like there only is variants and there is no original, so to speak. There is only variants.
Right.
So
but there is an anchor though, right? Like in the comic books, there is the 616, right? Like that's the main one, and like with DC, it's like the Zero, right? Or Earth Prime now, right, or something. Oh,
maybe yeah. Because remember, it's not like this version of the Kingpin just came out of nowhere, because Hawkeye refers to him in the past tense as the big guy, and I don't want him to get involved. And like even Hawkeye refers to this dude with a tone like, "Oh shit,"
right?
Like, the Kingpin
because that Kingpin has a history, maybe a lower level thug history, went with the Hawaiian shirt and all that.
Oh no! You bugging? That was because of the flip. But I think that the Kingpin Fisk is always Fisk. I'll even put him up there with J. Jonah Jameson always being J. Jonah Jameson. Fisk is always Fisk in the multiverse.
Right. Like that's, I think, what we're saying exactly. That for instance, like the J. Jonah Jameson in the Sam Raimi universe, it's its own person. And the J. Jonah that we're seeing now in the MCU, it's its own person. And that's kind of what we're thinking now. It's happening. It's a variant, exactly.
But it's still the same exact like version of the character.
Probably with a little different history, right? That's the thing we have to see, but I disagree though with the idea that there's just fanfare though, because I do think that Kevin Feige is planning on how to introduce, because one, like Kingpin was introduced well, I think in Hawkeye, right? It was a nice slow build, connecting with Echo's history, building Echo there, and with Clint mentioning how there's this big crime lord that he's kind of afraid of. So setting that there's some history there that makes me think of the Netflix verse. And actually there were some deleted scenes that were shown not that long ago of Kingpin meeting with Kate Bishop's mom, where he's dressed in his epic black suit from his Daredevil days, meeting with her. So it's like maybe there's some of that. But the other part why I don't think it's a fanfare is because we are getting an Echo series. And so I'm 100% sure Kingpin will be in that series, and I would hope that also Matt Murdock.
Dude, fucking
if they can connect it legit, I mean that'd be dope.
They totally can, like, and considering that weird underbelly, like that dark world shit that they're gonna get into with the Echo show, that brings in the one thing I'm truly hoping for. You guys know what it is, John Bernthal Punisher.
Oh.
They can totally bring him back. If they brought in the Kingpin, they could use him as the main antagonist for John Bernthal. Throw Echo in back and forth. They could introduce him. You know what I mean? All that shit could happen.
Yeah, we got Moon Knight on the way.
Look at that shit. Yo,
right.
they're peeking around the darker corner to see what's up. And Moon Knight.
But they're gonna Disneyify that shit. They gotta open up like a
bro. I don't know, man.
Yes.
Yo, who knows? Who knows? They could do like
an imprint.
They could do like a Marvel Knights, but show version.
but like not Disney version though. Like that's what we're saying. Like that they have to say like, oh, this is like not even put it on Disney Plus, for instance. Like just put it on somewhere else, just because it's not like what you're because Disney Plus, you're thinking it's gonna be lighthearted. It's not gonna be dark. And
what's like the darkest shit they did with Hawkeye? Like what was the peak of like violence? I think Kate Bishop kills 2 people, right? Okay, there's an epic car chase scene, one of the dopest scenes of the whole series. It almost I think it's worth watching. I feel like aside from Loki, I had the most fun with this one. So Loki's my favorite, then this one would be after that. So it opens up with an epic car chase scene, but at one point, Kate, she shoots like an explosive arrow at a car, and just
you're right.
I'm like, yo, this is kind of dark, man. She took lives, like, yo, she matures real quick here.
And I feel like the same way with Hawkeye. I think the darkest stuff they showed us when they revisit the Ronin stuff, no, and when they see him actually killing the tracksuit mafia and killing the dad, and right, because at first I was like, maybe that's Swordsman or something. No, but that was him, right? And they're not shying away from, he had this dark past and he was coping with the fucking blip, right? And I'm like, all right, that at least they keep that. But then we got fucking Kate Bishop beating fucking Kingpin. Like, okay, great.
The one thing that irks me is I thought that we were gonna get a bit more insight into his training. We got zero. Like, what made Clint Barton? You know what I mean? The thing, it's like the thing we learned about Clint Barton. What I sum it up as was he's banging an ex-SHIELD agent, and when he gets sad, he slaughters people. That's what I got about Clint Barton. That's it from the show. When he's sad, he mass murders, and his wife used to be in SHIELD, which I got from the watch. Aside from that, you didn't learn shit about Hawkeye, really.
I love how you downplay being sad, like, because his family, 3 kids and a wife died, and and close friends. But like, yes, he's just sad. Like, I think.
But then when you compare it to what his did, it's like, all right, bro, your family disappeared. You don't have to go kill dozens upon dozens of people. You know what I mean? Like, homeboy went slaughtering wholesale as Ronin.
Yeah. Like, he made Endgame real good. He was one of the main characters in that one.
In facts, like, that shit was crazy. Remember, they were just showing that scene, but that scene implies that he's done that shit dozens of times.
Yeah, but I get it, because the same thing, like, as we saw with Black Widow, though, it's like, he killed people before because he was a SHIELD agent in the MCU. So he was supposed to kill Natasha, but he didn't. So he's done it before, and then he tried to stop killing because he's an Avenger now. But then he saw that their superhero attempts led to nothing, right? Because they lost, and almost half of the fucking universe died. So I guess he was like, fuck that, I'm going to my old ways. I'm just gonna kill everybody who's a bad guy, stop him from fucking making things worse. It makes sense. Like,
Ronan is awesome in the MCU, and I'm glad that this show used the Ronan character. That's one of the main reasons why I was like really digging episode to episode, because it really is about that suit, and then ends up in the hands of a dude that does some like medieval cosplay and shit, and that's
the LARPers.
LARPers. The show ventures more into comedy a little.
I was a fan of the LARPers. I enjoyed that.
The LARPing episode was dope. Jeremy Renner doing like a light comedy type shit. It was dope. Yeah.
And that's the thing that's cool, like, for stuff like that, like the LARPers, make that funny. The tracksuit mafia, don't make that, you see? Like that dummy, like,
Yeah, it's revealed when they're both captured, when like Clint Barton and Kate Bishop are captured with these dudes with guns, and then from like the outcome, if that would have been Netflix, you would have seen the Frank Castle torture scene type shit.
Straight up.
But here nothing happened, like not even Kick-Ass level shit.
Borderline about to decay, like fucking like beat the shit out of both of them. Like, it would have been some crazy gruesome shit.
And I felt close. Like, I hope they really go all fucking balls deep in this with Echo, because I felt Echo. I believed her. Like, I believed that she was like, I'm gonna fucking kill Ronin. And then she's like, I don't care. How many of our people may die as we try to get fucking Ronin. And like, I believed her. And even at the end, when like she straight up, when she figures it out, right? and ends up shooting fucking Kingpin. You know, it's seen off. You know, it happens off you know, camera. But shoots him in the fucking head, man, in the fucking face. That's pretty fucking dark. Like, I really hope they dive into that well.
But did she shoot him though?
So in the comic books, she does.
I was thinking the same.
In the comic books, that happens kind of the same way, right? Because the difference is it's Daredevil, not Hawkeye, right? She thinks Daredevil killed her father. She figures it out. It's not. It figures out it's the Kingpin. Confronts the Kingpin and then straight up shoots him in the face.
Oh, I
Damn.
feel like they left it like up in the air just in case they want to bring Kingpin back.
Yeah, but they might just do the same thing because in the comic books, you know, because of comic book wizardry, right? Like the only thing that happens to Kingpin after getting shot in the face is that he's blind. He goes blind for a minute. So which is like, oh wow, like Daredevil, right? But then obviously he regains his vision somehow.
Because he's Fisk, bro.
Yeah.
Damn.
One
There's
thing,
a
like,
hardcore face.
word,
Take a
word.
bullet. That's some. Was that character from Sin City?
Marv.
Yeah, Marv. That's a Marv shit. I took a
They can
bullet
cut
to the
Marv.
face.
One thing, like amongst all that vague shit that I was referring to earlier, is the concept of the Ronin. I wish they would have explained where the name comes from, about the suit, the tech, how he got it, where it came from. We got none of that. It's just that when I go sad, I become the Ronin. That's it. Like that's the origin story of the Ronin, is that he was sad that his family was gone. There's no I stole this suit, yada yada yada. You know what I mean? Like because
But
the
it's
suit
always
is
an
bad.
epic tragedy though that turns up.
No. I mean, I get that.
Dark.
I get that.
He's
But it's like,
BVS shit.
but it's like the sword seems to have some epic tech. You know, like they could have mentioned that like it's made out of fucking vibranium or some shit. You know what I mean? Like. But
yeah, no, that's a good point. I agree. You're right. You know, because we didn't really, as you're saying, we didn't get really backstory into Hawkeye at all here, right? Which, you know, I think they dropped it because like we got Swordsman. That would have been a cool little, you know, flashback scenes of them in the circus and shit. But then also, yeah, you're right. It would have been kind of cool to figure out, well, exactly where did this Ronin shit come from, right? Like that. Did he make the suit? Did he?
Yeah, but that can still be explored. You know, still open.
All right, if you're listening, Kevin, Mr. Feige.
If they want to give, Jeremy Renner give him that money, have him come back.
You imagine Feige, he could just cuts into a recording feed like, well, guys, what happened was like, oh shit.
Like I don't need another season of Hawkeye. I feel like maybe the Kate Bishop character built her up in like a Young Avengers show,
right?
But I don't know if I would like. I'm looking forward to more Moon Knight. Hopefully that doesn't disappoint. Hopefully that one gets to be a little bit like darker than this one was.
Oh yeah.
How did you guys feel about evil Jon Snow?
Oh yeah, that dude, right?
Yo, I would have not cast him just based on the fact that he looked so much like Jon Snow. I refuse to not mention him during this episode.
Wait, the tracksuit mafia dude?
Yeah, the general. It was too uncanny. That's crazy. That's evil Jon fucking Snow.
Nah, but it's like a skinny version though. No,
I can see it though.
Yeah, I see. It's like his brother, younger brother, or some shit. Yeah,
facts. All of that shit.
The last thing I wanted to bring up about Hawkeye was also like they also brought in that he's deaf, that he has a or is
all his injuries and shit.
Hearing,
yeah,
that he has a hearing aid. What do you guys think of that?
No, yeah, I enjoyed the fact that they brought up his injuries from like being an Avenger. Like he admitted it, like, yo, this shit comes with a price. Because it wasn't like that he was born deaf. It was like a combat injury. You know, his back is fucked up, all of that shit. Like I enjoyed that. Like he has shit to deal with.
Which was another big thing of Matt Fraction's run too. That they brought back the whole thing that he's deaf, and there's actually a whole issue it's entirely in American Sign Language in ASL.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild. That reminds me of that infamous image by Alex Ross. Go and Google that of Bruce Wayne when he's taking off his shirt. That he's like covered in like cuts and stabs and bruises and shit.
I've been trying to find that HD version of that for years, bro. So I gotta make a post.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not easy to find. Buy a print of that shit from Alex Ross.
Go to alexross.com, bro.
Just get it. Cash. Damn, I guess I gotta give it up to Alex Ross, man. He
Come
deserves
on.
the cash.
Yo, Rod trying to steal that
he's
shit.
not-
just
he's not
printed
trash.
online.
Alex Ross, you're
Bootleg.
just trying to Google it, motherfucker.
Yo, you don't hear him like on some odd job. They go, yo, where's my money? Because Alex Ross getting that spread.
Where he's doing all right, man. Shit.
OD, dude.
Man.
Yeah, his pieces are beautiful.
Hell yeah, man. Shit. The only thing I wanted to mention about the hearing stuff that I was fucking shocked actually to know that apparently Hawkeye being deaf was a part of the character in the comic books for a long time, apparently. That then people
shit.
didn't really use. I had no fucking idea. Apparently, he lost his hearing in his first miniseries by Mark Grunwald and Brett Reading, which I think was in the 80s or some shit, which is actually pretty epic. The way it happened is that he's being mind controlled or some shit by this villain Crossfire because of audio waves or something, and he ends up basically damaging his own ears so he can't be under control. And then since then, he apparently was deaf and had to learn like American Sign Language and shit like that. But then in that Heroes Return story that happened after Onslaught, this is deep cut, where Franklin Richards created this little universe for all the heroes to go exist and then come back. Apparently, Franklin Richards cured his deafness. So since then, which that was what, like 95 or some shit, right? Yeah. Since then, Hawkeye was able to hear again until Matt Fraction's run. At that point in Matt Fraction's run, fighting this epic villain. This is the only reason I would like to see another season of Hawkeye. He's fighting this villain called the Clown, which is creepy ass motherfucker, white face. Like it's like a mime, like white face, little fucking teardrop, scary kind of guy.
Yeah.
Ends up stabbing Hawkeye in both of his ears with arrows.
Fuck.
And he goes deaf again at that point.
Q-tips. Shit.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. I mean, so that's crazy. I mean, they could have done a better job of like just incorporating it. That's not even a word. Incorporating it from like his first time they showed him in like in the MCU. They could have made it, you know, like they could have brought it out a little bit sooner than just wait till now, you know?
Right.
All right, guys.
I enjoyed the show. I mean, I knew, I had a feeling that the Kingpin was going to be a throwaway. I had a feeling it was going to be that. So I wasn't even disappointed when it turned out to be underwhelming because I was like, it's not going to be that late because it's Disney. They can't pull off the Netflix version. The Netflix version would have came out and like it would have been some shit where he's about to snap Kate Bishop's neck and Hawkeye has an epic arrow and it turns into some dark ass scene and shit with mad emotional gravitas, but nah.
Roar, like Chess was saying, like I would have liked to have seen Kate Bishop kind of fight a bit, with Kingpin and kind of get maybe a little closer some shit, but then obviously Kingpin beat her fucking ass. And like what you just said, Rod, why not? Why can't they have done that?
Damn, yeah, that'd be cool.
Like, yo, bro, in the Netflix verse, he would have broken her body, then about to kill her. Barton somehow defeats the Kingpin. Then he goes visit her in the hospital in a body cast. And then in her, like, you know, like then in her show, from having to come back from that, she finds her true strength to be a hero.
Oh, I watched that.
And then becomes the Ronin and gets a spin-off show.
Damn. See? Damn.
What's good?
Okay, wait, but this was the fifth of the sixth show. Which one was this?
Of the Disney Plus shows?
Yeah. This was number 4 or 5, right?
5, right?
We got What If. We got WandaVision. Why not? What If doesn't count? Like it's.
I don't. Okay, fine.
Right. Well, we got WandaVision, Falcon, Loki,
Winter Soldier,
and What If, I guess, and
this is number 5.
This is 5. Yeah.
So where we at on the rankings? That we got 5. Has anything moved with this one? Like
Loki won. This was number 2 for me, and then number 3.
You think this was better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
Yeah, for sure.
Damn. As racist, Loki.
It's also very like New York City is a character sort of in this show, so I always dig that, of course.
Yeah, facts.
Man, I think for me, I still have WandaVision as 1, Falcon as 2. I probably put Hawkeye as 3, and then Loki still for me the last. It was okay.
Nah, I would have to go Falcon, then Loki, then Hawkeye, then What If, then WandaVision. No, wait. Swap What If with WandaVision. Put that one number 4. Then I'll take What If at number 5.
All right. But speaking of that, now let's give this show a proper fucking rating. People are waiting for the LOZ's rating. So come on. What do you guys give it?
After this rating, I think that Rush will back off. The markets will come back and pick up. People need to know. I give it a solid 7.5.
7.5. Rod?
8.5.
Oh. And I'm going to give it a solid 7, bringing us to a 7.6. So I guess.
Yo, we're scientific with this shit.
Facts. You fucking Bloomberg.
Should we round up? Should we go with an 8?
No. I feel like that's a valid ass score. 7.6. Like,
6.
what would you rate the average show on television? Like what, a 5?
Yeah, like the average show, not even CW, non-superhero related, just get the average show. Like
So
a
the fact that
6.
this is a 7.5?
7.6.
7.6. Dang, even better. It's worth your time.
Like, yo, this show is not an 8. It's not a 7.75, but it's better than a 7.5.
By a little bit, but it is.
But it's yo, you can't find this type of shit on C-SPAN.
And this is why you guys come to hear.
Damn.
Somebody that cares about
our
policy.
Professional goals should be to surpass C-SPAN in viewership. Like, how many people did us watch C-SPAN? And then
People,
nah.
like, yo, people that care about policy.
Damn. Even they don't watch it. What are you talking about?
Yo.
They don't even care about that. They're like, this is boring.
Yo, so people remember, as of now, you know what? I'm down for that campaign. Our goal is to beat C-SPAN in viewership on YouTube. Go to our YouTube.
That's right.
Fuck C-SPAN. This
C-SPAN,
is
we're
Chess.
coming for you, man. We're coming for you. This is Miguel.
It's Rod. Peace out.
All right, later.